channel, like the video, share the video, comment on the video. Got a live chat, so we'll be going to that in a couple minutes. Before I get into the main topic, I do have a little breaking news. I found out yesterday at the NPC Jay Cutler Classic from a very, very well connected person, very high up in the industry. The prize breakdown for the Masters Olympia, just for the winners of each division. So we know the total prize money is $229,000. We've known that for a while. We did not know the breakdown. How much does each division get? I suspected the Masters Mr. Olympia would get more than everybody else, and I was correct. They're getting twice as much. First place for the Masters Olympia, and I don't have second, third, fourth, and fifth for anything. Sorry, don't have that yet. $20,000. $20,000 to win the Masters Mr. Olympia. All other divisions, which would be 212, Classic, Men's Physique, Women's Physique, Women's Figure, Women's Bodybuilding, Women's Bikini. They don't have fitness, right? Anyway, $10,000. So 10 grand for every division except numero uno, the Masters Mr. Olympia winner will get 20 grand. That's happening in August in Cluj, Romania. I think it's Cluj. Anyway, so yeah, I was at the show yesterday. I went to the judging. I didn't go to the finals. And something struck me is that I've seen some of these people that were in the show as they were prepping, and I've seen them in the off season long ago. I mean, some of these people I've been seeing at my gym, a couple of them for, a year or two. And one thing I noticed with a couple of people was they lost so much muscle mass along with fat that I barely recognized them. One young man in particular, he had to be, I don't know, like 260, 270, big bulky kid in the off season, but it was mostly fat and water because yesterday I didn't even recognize this kid. Did not recognize him. A lot of muscle I think was dieted away because when you get this fat, even if you give yourself 12, 16 weeks to prepare, if you start your diet from a point of being that high in body fat, you're going to end up losing a lot of muscle along the way, even with gear. And yeah, I'm sure he was on plenty of gear. It didn't matter. It didn't save him. Lost a lot of muscle. So that's a lesson that took me years and years, decades to learn, is that if you ever plan on getting in great shape, whether it's for a contest, a photo shoot, just to be in great shape for the summer or something, you shouldn't get very fat. You shouldn't be so fat that you can't see any abdominals, any separation in the muscle groups. If you've done that, I promise you, by the time you get in shape, unless you give yourself like a year or something ridiculous to gradually come down, you're going to lose muscle mass. And it's a bad look. It's a bad look. I feel bad for this guy because I see him train. He trains very heavy, very hard. He had a lot of muscle. I know a lot of what I was seeing was fat and water, but he had a lot more muscle, and it was gone on stage yesterday. So that, it took me years to realize I was dieting down and I would always end up the same size. And so all this size, this bulk that I thought I was putting on in the form of muscle mass, it was really just fat and water. But if you're staying fairly lean, you don't have to stay shredded. That's ridiculous. I'm not suggesting that. But if you can stay fairly lean to the point where you can see some abs, they're not like crystal clear. You can see some muscle definition, a couple veins. That's a good starting point for a diet. That's where you want to be. Then you don't have to kill yourself. You don't have to do like 2 hours of cardio. You don't have to go zero carb for like weeks like some of these people do. You don't want to suffer. When you do these things, you do all that cardio, take your calories down that low, it's a shock to your system. You'll lose fat, but you're going to lose muscle mass along with it. Let's go to the phones. It's a live chat. That's what we're here for. I don't know why I get all these sneaker ads. I bought like one pair of sneakers. Oh, my ad center. Can't get rid of it. All right, so let's go to your questions, comments. Scandor 1, hi. Joseba, I'm going to try to say your name right. Joseba Iparagire. Yeah, I mutilated again. What's up, dude? Shelby, hi, Ron. I'm suffering from anxiety since 7 years and taking SSRIs. Is there any PED I can use to build muscles without anxiety attacks? Racing heartbeat. I mean, I'm not a PED expert. I always have to say that. But the safest steroid that's going to be the least shocking to your system is just straight testosterone because it's exactly what your body makes anyway. So if you just do a little bit of test, Where'd the chat go? A little bit of test, you'll see some really good gains. That's really a question for the doctor. I think if you want to leave that, avoid trend. Yeah, Frederick Colomb has a good point there. Trend gave me amazing results every time I use it in terms of like, stronger, harder look, this and that, but it just wreaks havoc with my brain. I get like anxiety, racing thoughts, anger. It's just I don't respond well to it psychologically, mentally, however you want to say it. So trend you want to stay away from. But I think like test and deca, equipoise, the basic stuff. I don't think you can go wrong with those. And again, I'm not a doctor, man. I'm not, and that's a pretty complex question. But let's go to something. Hopefully, I won't need a. Hey, Ron, did you see controversy with Olympia TV? Honestly, I saw the video and thought it was great and informative. I didn't watch it. I guess they made some comments about some of the competitors that qualify for Olympia, and I don't even know the context. Does somebody want to clarify exactly what was said? It was like 4 bodybuilders, and Trigilli did a Instagram because his YouTube is taken down. About he made a video post on his Instagram about how he thought it was like insulting or slap in the face that they referred to them as. I don't know how they referred to them. I don't want to jump to conclusions. So somebody help me out here. James Gary, what's up? What's going on around? My son Nathan, aka Mini Monster, says hi. What's up, James? Shelby, friend Colombo, thank you, my friend. Okay. Scandor, I'm 52 and pretty lean, but can't seem to get rid of that last bit of belly fat. Please, I think you want to say help, and your key got stuck. Your finger got stuck on the keyboard at the end there. Yeah, belly fat it's the hardest. Belly fat and the lower back fat, that's the hardest area to get rid of. It's usually the last area because we men, we hold our fat around the middle, right around that middle, like we call it the spare tire. Women, you'll see women that look pretty lean upper body, but then their lower body, like their butt, their thighs are humongous. Looks like 2 different bodies. With men, you'll see guys who, from the waist up or from about here up, they look like they're in pretty good shape, but then, you see they have a belly, they have love handles. You just have to get leaner. You have to get even leaner. You have to take your calories down. Obviously, because it's summer coming up, I've been doing articles for MD and Muscle Tech about getting ripped. And I agree with Coach Greg Doucette and Lane Norton and a lot of other people who believe it's all calories in versus calories out. So you have to be taking in less calories than you're putting out. So if your body requires 2,000 calories a day, I'm just throwing a round number out there. And if you're still eating 2,000 calories, you're not going to lose any more weight or fat. If you take it down to like 1,900, now you're in a 100 calorie caloric deficit, or 1,800, 200 calorie caloric deficit. And over time, you keep that going, you're going to get leaner. So it's just a matter of eating less. But you have to weigh and measure your food. You have to calculate how many calories, because you don't know. I don't know how many calories I'm taking in. I can make a rough guess, but it wouldn't. If I was really trying to get shredded, I probably wouldn't need to do it because I've done this so many times. But for most people, you would need to do like MyFitnessPal or one of those apps where you track your meals with the exact amount of calories, the macros. Macros, I don't think are that important in this case. It's just total calories. They've done studies comparing like 100 different diet plans, different things, keto, this and that. And any of these diets that put you in a caloric deficit, meaning you're eating fewer calories than you put out, they're all effective. So if you eat less calories than your body requires, you will lose fat, you'll lose body weight. You want to be in a surplus, eating more calories than your body needs if you're trying to gain muscle. So I think a lot of people, they're afraid of losing muscle, or they're afraid, or they still think they can keep building muscle even when they're trying to get ripped, which is very few people can do that. It's a rarity. Unless you're like rebuilding muscle that was already there before, or if you're new to steroid use, you could probably put on muscle while getting leaner. There are certain circumstances where it's possible, but for the most part, you have to pick. Am I gaining or am I losing? Do I want to put size and weight on? Do I want to take fat and weight off? You can't do both at the same time. It's like walking in the middle of the road, getting hit by that car. You're not going to reach your goal. So yeah, Scandor, you got to get that caloric deficit going. Cardio is another way, because if you're eating 2,000 calories and burning 2,000 calories, but then you add on to that, maybe you're going to burn 400 calories of cardio every day. Now you're in that caloric deficit, and now you're going to start seeing weight loss. So you're just going to have to crank up the cardio or take down your calories, or both. Well, Seva, I hired a coach so I don't get too fat next off season. Yeah, that's good, because, left to our own devices, a lot of us look in the mirror and we don't think we're fat. we think, I'm still in decent shape. And, you'll find like some certain lighting, some mirror in your house at a certain time of day where you still look kind of lean and you're like, I'm all right. But then, for me, it was always like seeing pictures because my fattest points usually came during the winter months. So when I would see like pictures of, family get-togethers at Christmas Eve or New Year's Eve parties, I'd see my face. I'm like, oh my God, I have fat shit. But a coach will keep you accountable because you're sending check-in pictures, and a good coach will let you know. He or she will say, you better cut back. You're getting fat. We don't want you getting fat. So it's accountability. That's all it is. Michael Dowell, is running or walking the treadmill uphill, which is best for cardio? Nothing is best. Whatever you're going to do and burn calories, you'll burn more calories the harder the cardio is in the shorter amount of time. But you could like do fast walking. You could do biking, even swimming if you're working hard. Anything where you're burning calories is effective. It's just getting the calories gone. The harder you work and the more you sweat, the heavier you breathe, you're going to burn more calories in a shorter amount of time. But any form of cardio is going to work as long as it's burning calories. It's all about getting the calories down, calories in versus calories out. That's all fat loss is. It's a very simple equation. Samson 12321, Muscular Development Magazine. Ron, some people try to make an issue of Olympia TV video. I saw it accurately critique competitors and their shortcomings, not improve them in placings. So I guess did they like just say these competitors aren't like the greatest bodybuilders in the world yet? I don't know. I still don't know what it was. I'm sorry I didn't watch it. I don't get into a lot of like the dumbass gossip that like has no effect on what I'm doing, the work that I need to do. James Gary, what piece of equipment do you suggest I use for cardio? We got some nice new Stairmaster. I like the Farmer Walk treadmill also. Again, James, anything that you're going to do, any machine that you find that you like and you can work hard on and you enjoy using, maybe enjoy isn't the right word, but they're all the same. They're all just to burn calories. So, the stepper, especially if you don't hold on to the rails, if you can like keep your arms here, or like I remember Kai Green used to do the step mill with a broomstick behind his head. So he had to hold that stick. He couldn't hold the railings. That's brutally hard. If you can do that, that's very hard. But yeah, that Farmer's Walk treadmill we got, he's talking about, where you can like load weights on the side and everything. They're all good. I mean, anything that gets your breathing up and burns calories. Let's see. Alfredo, I'm already fat. LOL. Yeah, well, at least you're aware of it. And if you know, you can do something. Sako Janesi, and you look great, Ron. Thank you, Sako. I don't know how to say thank you in Armenian. I could say Barev Ishpesas is like, hi, how are you? That's the only Armenian. I speak like 2 words in every language, and that's it. Spanish, I can hold like a baby conversation for a while. Trust Music Events, I run. How much fat can L-carnitine help burn? A little bit, not much. You have to have a clean diet. You have to be in a caloric deficit. If you're not doing these things, if you're still eating too many calories, or if you're not in that caloric deficit, all these fat burners, they're not going to do much for you. They're going to help a little bit, but not much. It's really about getting that diet very clean and getting the calories down, and people ask, how am I supposed to get my calories down? I already eat very clean. Well, you don't have to go no carbs, but you probably need to take your carbs down because protein should always stay high. You don't want to cut your protein down to like, 20 grams a meal or something like that if you're used to eating 40 to 50. But if you're used to eating 100 to 200 grams of carbs per meal, you could cut that back, and that's an easy way to get your calories down. Fats, you shouldn't be taking in a lot of fats, except maybe some good healthy fats, like in the salmon you're eating, or lean ground beef, and the egg yolks if you're eating whole eggs like I do. I have 2 every morning with a half a cup of egg whites, and then my oatmeal and blueberries. Jeez, I lost my train of thought. So your carbs, that's where you're going to take it back, because otherwise, your calories got to come down somehow. And again, you don't want to take it out of your protein. Take it from your carbs. When I'm really trying to get shredded, I only have carbs. If it's a non-weight training day, the only meal I have carbs with is breakfast. The rest of them are just like protein with vegetables or protein with like a handful of almonds or something. And on my weight training days, I typically train in the morning anyway. So breakfast, I have carbs, go to the gym. If I'm really trying to get shredded, the shake after is just straight whey protein, no carbs in it. And then I'll have carbs in that meal after training, like chicken breast and rice, or a potato, sweet potato. And then all the other meals after that, no carbs. So that's an easy way to get the calories down. Arstav, what do you think of growing into a show? Is that only for mesomorphs? Growing into a show. So here are the 2 cases where you can grow into a show. if you've been off gear and now you're prepping for a show and you get on a bunch of gear, you can grow into a show because you're going to regain all that muscle mass that you were borrowing. I say this, those of us who use gear, part of our muscle mass, you can debate how much of it, is borrowed, meaning when we stop the gear, we lose part of that muscle mass. It's gone. It's not yours to keep forever, that part. So you get that back once you get back on gear. So like Arnold and those guys, Arnold's a good example. Arnold used to go down to like 210, 215 pounds between shows. He would only do the Olympia every fall. So he got very, very slim compared to how we looked at the Olympia. And he would be off gear. Back in the 70s, guys did not use gear all year. They only used it for shows, a lot of them were. Maybe they did another cycle, but it wasn't customary to be on gear all the time like it is now. So Arnold started his prep. Like, watch the movie Pumping Iron. He's much smaller when he first walks into Gold's Gym in the beginning of the movie than he is on stage, because he had just done that movie Stay Hungry, and they had him downsize for it. So he was putting muscle back on for the 1975 Olympia, which the movie Pumping Iron documents. So you'll see him getting bigger and bigger as they lead into the show. And that's how the guys used to do it. So that's one thing, regaining muscle mass that you had. Maybe it was chemically enhanced muscle mass. Growing into a show. Another way to do it is if someone just hasn't been eating enough, and then they start eating, six meals a day and they're in gear. But for most people, growing into a show is not possible, because most people now, they bulk up. So say you're going to compete at 198, you're a light heavyweight on stage, and that's your cutoff, and that's what you want to be. A lot of guys will bulk up in that situation, will bulk up to like 230, 240, 250. They start their prep at like, say, 240. Now they got to lose 40 pounds in, 12, 16 weeks, however long they're going to prep for. They're not growing into a show. They're struggling just to hold on to their muscle mass as they get rid of the body fat. But someone else who stayed lean and maybe they weren't eating a lot, some guys don't eat much in the off season. Some guys are like the opposite. They don't start eating a lot of food and a lot more meals until it's like prep time. This is a real thing. Guys do this. Those guys can grow into a show, but most people know. Skander 1. Cheers, mate. Keep plotting. So difficult though. Yeah. If it was easy, everybody would look awesome. Everybody would look like a pro bodybuilder. And none of us would be special for dedicating so much time and effort into the weight training, the eating, the supplements, all that stuff. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of time. It's a lot of work. Steven Tello. Nate Tello's brother, right? Before I get to his question, Steven, so at the show yesterday, I didn't go to the final, but during the judging, the MC, and I think he was just one of the expediters who was filling in. I don't think their MC showed up. I could be wrong. But he thanked Gym Hub for sponsoring the event, being the title sponsor. And he said it's owned by pro bodybuilder Nate Spear, who was sitting next to me. Nate's a pro bodybuilder from New Hampshire. Is that where you're from, Nate? But I yelled out, Tello, because he had the wrong Nate. So Nate said, Steven Tello, his brother, says, hi, Ron. How do you think Nate looks 3 weeks out from the New York Pro? I'll be there and look forward to meeting you. I only saw him in a t-shirt. He looks big, full, round. I think Nate's going to do very well as a 212 at his pro debut at the New York Pro. And if you guys ever get to Boston, Gym Hub Boston is the Instagram. Great gym. It's downtown near Downtown Crossing subway stop. And Jay Cutler just posted a video. He was there this morning training. Whenever he's in town, Jay Cutler goes to Gym Hub, Nate Tello's gym, and trains there. A lot of pros do. Maureen Blanquisco did an appearance there. She's the Bikini Olympia champ. She was in Boston. She might still be here now. She was there training. When we had the Boston Pro last year, a little over a year ago, tons of the pros were there. I mean, Urs Kalachinsky, a lot of them were in there. So yeah, Steven, Nate looks great. I've seen a couple posing pictures. He's right on track. I mean, he's being coached by Jose Raymond. Jose would not bring him in at anything less than 100%. They make a great team. Trust music events. What about sugar? I can't seem to let go of chocolate cookies and so on. I have no energy without them. It's weird that you say they give you energy, because usually you get something sugary like that gives you a big insulin spike, and then you have an insulin crash. I guess do you drink coffee or take pre-workouts? I mean, these things can help boost your energy. It's artificial, but yeah, junk food like that. Sugar doesn't really give you energy. I mean, it gives you caloric energy, just like anything you eat would, but it doesn't give you like that alertness and that type of energy. Yeah, but you can't eat that kind of stuff if you want to get lean. You just can't. The only time like I've cleaned up my diet a lot lately. I still have a couple things that I'm eating that I hadn't eaten. I'll stop. But the only time I have like simple sugars is right after a workout. I have whey protein, Nitrotech, and I have a cup, about a cup and a half of cereal. Like right now, I'm on Apple Jacks. So whey protein Apple Jacks. And that's pure sugar, but you want that right after you're done training. You don't really want straight up sugary stuff any other day, any other point in your day. Do you eat sweets? Oh, okay, well, that was the same question. Yeah, I'll stop. I wasn't going to buy any, I wasn't going to eat anymore. And then my wife goes out and buys these like big, chunky designer cookies. She bought like 6 of them. I'll eat those. Just once in a while, she'll go get donuts from some place. She drives like an hour away because the donuts are so great. Kane's Donuts in Saugus, Mass. Geez, why is my nose getting all stuffy? So yeah, I eat sweets, but when I'm really trying to get lean, I don't. In the quote unquote off season, when I'm just trying to stay respectably lean, I'll have them a few times a week, or even like once a day, just a small amount. But I don't go crazy. I don't eat like a whole box of cookies or you got to have restraint. You have to, or else, because those calories, they add up. And like I said, it's all calories in, calories out. Levrone used to grow into his show, says Mark. Yeah, Kevin Levrone is a perfect example. So Kevin would go off gear. He wouldn't even train. He would drop so much muscle after he competed. I used to see Kevin 6 months out from the Olympia, and I didn't even recognize him. He was so skinny compared to what he normally looks like. And the first couple times I was like, oh no, he's screwed. He's way too small. He's never going to get that size back for the Olympia. Sure enough, the Olympia, kaboom, goes back on gear, goes back to eating more, goes back to training, and his body just blows the F up. Yeah, Levrone was a great example. Great example. Probably the best example, because we used to see Kevin, all of us, in the off season, smaller, and it just freaked us out. How much smaller he would get, and then how big he could get in just 4 months. Like he would start his prep for the Olympia like 4 months, and that's when he would go back onto training hard. I don't think he trained at all for months and months. And yeah, it was a sight to see. Good question, Joseba. Who do you know doing New York Pro besides Carlos, Tonio, Beef Stew? Yeah, Tonio Burton just jumped in. I'm really happy about that. I don't know too many people doing the New York Pro. I hope we get some big names. I'd like to see some big names. I hope Sergio Oliva Jr. does it. I hope he's able to. I don't know with that situation he had over in Dubai. I don't know if he can travel. Hopefully that's all behind him, because I would love to see Sergio come back. That's where he did his pro debut in 2017, and he won that. So he could come back and get a second New York Pro title. Why not? James Gary, Nathan would like to know, when do you think he should start strength training? James, I would wait till he starts puberty. Alex Gorey, welcome to the pro. Oh, thanks, Alex. Yeah, James, I would wait until puberty. He starts. Once he starts getting a little bit of facial hair, starts looking at girls like, voice starts changing. Because, I started weight training at I was still 13. I hadn't started puberty yet, so nothing happened. I was getting a little stronger, but my body didn't look any different. I was getting so frustrated. And it was a good year after that till I finally hit puberty. It was about a year. And then I started noticing, I still didn't get blow up huge. But that's when you have the hormonal environment to really maximize the strength training and get bigger and stronger. Without that testosterone, little boys and little girls are hormonally like the same for a long time until puberty. And that's when the boys get flooded with testosterone and the girls get this big rush of estrogen, and they become men and women. And that's when young men are really going to see the results, is when they have the testosterone in their systems. Samson at Mark, I would say to all competitors to not train right up to show day, because you'll remain in an inflamed state, retain water, and lose definition of separation. Yeah, you don't want to train legs, especially within 7 days of showtime, because there's going to be so much inflammation and waste products in there. You can't see the crystal clear definition. You even want to stop cardio at a few days out if possible. You want to really let those legs rest. You want to keep them elevated. You'll see a lot of guys at contests lying down with their legs up, because you don't want, your legs, you stand on them all day. You don't want that inflammation. You want them, every little fiber to be visible on those quads and those hamstrings. But even, typically you'll stop weight training on Wednesday for a Saturday show. I've heard some people say they disagree with that. They think you should keep training up to the show. But most guys will stop all training on Wednesday for a Saturday show, and they won't do legs. Their last leg workout will be Friday or Saturday before that, and then they do not touch legs again. Let's see. Trust Music Events. Thoughts on Proviron and Anavar to stay lean? What dosages would you use? Well, staying lean, they're not going to help you stay lean. You still have to be on a really good diet. You got to do your cardio and all that. Proviron's going to increase your free testosterone levels. Anavar is going to, it's a steroid. They don't really, Anavar actually has been proven to help get rid of belly body fat, abdominal body fat. I should really look into that study and see what it said, but it's really just your diet. Those are going to help you just look better because you'll have more muscle mass to go along with being lean. Being lean and skinny is not a good look for anybody. I don't think. I know some people think that's a cool look, but not us meatheads. But yeah, Proviron, Anavar. Proviron, if you're prone to hair loss, I would steer clear of Proviron because it's a DHT derivative. And, I wonder, I don't know. I have the same hairline as my brothers. There's 5 of us, so I don't think it was from the drugs I did. James Gary Levrone had insane genetics, 100%. Some of the best genetics in history. Mark, Levrone said in an interview he would grow so much, so fast, he was afraid of pushing the envelope gear-wise. He was a freak for sure. There are these guys they respond so well that if they say what they were using for steroids, very few people believe them. They just say, liar, liar, pants on fire. You're a lying sack of shit. There's no way. There is no way you look like that on 500 milligrams of test and 400 milligrams of equipoise and, something where much less than what you expect. But I always say to that, I've known a lot of guys who went crazy on the doses. Crazy. I'm talking like 2-3 grams of test a week, a gram of tren, a gram of equipoise, 3 or 4 anadrols a day. I've seen people who use massive doses and they did not look like Kevin Levrone. They didn't look anything like a pro bodybuilder. A lot of them got big and puffy, but a lot of them never even got that big. They just got puffy and zitty, and they got more side effects than anything else. I mean, it's such an inconvenient truth that it's a reality a lot of people don't want to face, is that this sport is like 90% genetics. It really is. If you were meant to be a big, strong dude, it's not going to take you grams and grams and years to look like that. You'll probably be able to do it on pretty moderate doses, and you'll probably be able to put on most of your size within 2-3 years of using PEDs. These guys that have been on them I've been on them for years and years. That's another thing. I want to remind you guys, we have a show tomorrow morning. Giles and I talking about our early gear use. It's the MD Power Hour. And I actually screwed up. I was talking about how long I've been on gear. I started at the end of 96, my first cycle. I did take a break all of 98 and about half of 99, so about a year and a half. And then I said, but after that, I've been on it ever since. And that's not true. And only when we stopped recording, I'm like, dumbass, you forgot. I had a second born again natural phase after the 2006 Arnold Classic. I stopped for 2006, 2007. I stopped for about a year and a half. I did an NPC natural show, which you only had to be off gear for 1 year. And I was. I have the pictures on my Facebook album. You can see I didn't look the same. I was a little bit smaller, not quite as lean, especially in the lower body as I was on gear at the shows that I had done in the few years before that. But I did have a second phase. And then after that, I tried TRT because my levels just didn't come back. I wanted to see if my levels would come back to normal, and they didn't, which, no surprise. At that point, 2005, I had already been on gear for, God, I'm so bad at math. About 15 years. It's a better 15 years or more. So yeah, you're not getting your balls back. You're not getting your, maybe the HCG. You're not getting your testosterone production back after 15 years of gear. Nobody is. Sergio is still under travel restrictions to Samson. That sucks because he's looking phenomenal. Sergio is looking really good right now. That sucks. I want him in the New York Pro. New York Pro is always a good show, and the more big names, the better. We always want to see the best guys on stage at every show possible. Sergio, oh man, I hope he gets that sorted out. He's only got that show is 3 weeks from yesterday, so he's got less than 3 weeks to get it solved. Man, I hope he does. He says, thank you, Ron. You're welcome, James. Our stuff, I agree with Kevin Levrone example. I'm still curious about his calorie increase from off season. Hard to find online. I don't know if he ever said it, but I'm sure he wasn't eating much when he wasn't training. He probably didn't have the appetite. and there was no reason for him because he wasn't trying to get bigger or anything or hold on to muscle mass. So he probably was barely eating. That's all you need to know is he was just eating like a normal guy. He was probably eating 3 times a day, nothing extravagant. And then once he went back into prep mode, he bumped it up to like, 6 meals a day, like a pound of fish at every meal. He loved fish. And yeah, his body responded. Hola, brother. Hola, Pacas Maromba. Let's see. Joseba, what age range did you grow the best? I was natural up until I was 27. I'd say I put on most of my mass naturally between the ages of, I'd say 18 and 22 for me. By 22, I was already a fat, sloppy 220 to 230 in the off season. Very fat, very sloppy. But I was very strong. By the time I was like 22, 23, I'd put on most of the mass I think I was ever going to put on naturally. I put on a little bit more as the next couple of years went by. But so when I went on gear, I said this in the MD Power Hour that's coming out tomorrow morning. I bet I put on 90% of all the muscle that I put on from using gear was probably in the first 2-3 years of using gear. And after that, maybe little bits here and there. And then I don't think I put on, to be very honest with you guys, I don't think I put on an ounce of really new muscle mass in 15 years, maybe 20 years, at least 15 years. I could have pushed things a little harder with the drugs and eating, it's not my whole life. I have a wife and kids, and I've known for many, many years that I don't have the genetics to be like a pro. I could have been a pro. There's a lot of people that there's some people, I shouldn't say a lot, there's some people that with worse physique and worse genetics than me that are pros. But you don't know who they are because they're never going to do anything as a pro. But I knew there was no point in me doing that. Did that make any sense? I hope so. Trust Music Events. Have you ever tried cabergoline? No, I did not. In fact, I only heard I didn't even know it existed until I was coaching someone, a men's physique guy, about 5, 6, 7 years ago. It was probably like 7 years ago. And he mentioned using it to I think it was to combat the Deca dick or the trend dick or something, so he could still, have great sex with his girlfriend. But no, I never used cabergoline, sorry. So I don't have any advice about it. Kettle One for wheels, hey Ron, hey. Mark, I'm still frustrated they charge the same. Oh, they changed the name. Night of Champions is so much cooler. Well, Night of Champions is owned by Wayne D'Amelia, who runs that IFBB America. That's, they're trying to overthrow the NPC IFBB. They were the ones, I'm very sure, they were the ones behind that whole Washington Post series of articles. But Wayne owns Night of Champions. He was the one that started doing that show, I think in I want to say it was like the late 70s, like 78, 79. I think Robbie Robinson was the first winner. So when he left, was kicked out of the IFBB, he took that with him. And then, Steve Weinberger started New York Pro in 2004, 2005. Yeah, I agree. Night of Champions has a great ring to it, right? New York Pro sounds great too, but Night of Champions, it's pretty badass. I wish we could take that back. Samson, I recently saw Sergio promoting upcoming show in Dubai. Yeah, obviously he could just do one there, but that sucks. I don't get to go. They're not gonna send me to Dubai. And who's gonna go to Dubai to compete against him? I'd really like to see Sergio in it. He's too good to be doing small shows. He should be doing at least the level of a New York Pro, Arnold Classic, Olympia. He's not getting younger. Time's going by. Time waits for no man. The clock's always ticking. So I hope he makes it over. I really hope he does. I'm fat, says Muscular, come on. Well, stop eating so damn much. Easy to say. I'm just being silly, man. If you're fat, eat less, clean up your diet, do some cardio, just get some calories down. Branch, what's going on? Branch the Buppas, my Pitbull Lab mix. Thought he was a Pitbull, but now I'm pretty sure he's a Pitbull Lab. Bipolar mom and former adult probation officer. Fat is socially acceptable, Ron. I know. If you put fat in like a comment on like YouTube or Instagram, you immediately get a notice saying it's like hate speech or community standards, and you can't even say fat now. It's ridiculous. So she says fat is socially acceptable, Ron. Some normal fat models on the runway and in magazines. Yeah, this country's going nuts. It's going crazy. fat acceptance. It's just giving people permission to be lazy and eat whatever they want and be unhealthy. Stop saying it's healthy. Being obese is not healthy. You could say it's pretty if, there are guys who like big, gigantic, fat, obese women. I don't think there's too many women that like big, obese men, right? I don't see too many men fat, obese. I can't say fat, right? I don't see many morbidly obese men on the covers of like Cosmo or anything saying, this is hot, this is healthy, but they'll do that now with women. Fat shaming only applies if it's a woman. You can still fat shame men, you can still body shame men, but don't say jack about women, or else. RSQV, why are people trying to compare Sebum and Arnold? Arnold's been compared to a lot of guys over the years. I mean, like Cedric McMillan, Logan Franklin recently. Because they're just greats from different eras. It's like people comparing like, the best boxer today and the best boxer of like 50 years ago, or the best basketball players. Just people like to compare different eras. It's just a sports fan thing to do. Let's see. Mark says Sergio's 38. He's not young anymore. No, I mean, he's pushing 40. He's still young enough to make this happen. But he's been missing too many shows. We haven't seen him on stage since the fall of 2021, the Legion Sports show. Sean Clarita beat him and beat him in Regan. Haven't seen him since. I mean, he needs to get back up there. It's like I said, you don't have forever as a pro bodybuilder. You got to get this done before you're too old. And he still has time, but there's no time to waste. Oscar, but when I go to gym, I lose all motivation every time. On the way, I'm like Mike Tyson, but when I get there, I just don't want it. Well, two things. Find a good pre-workout. Try that. Shatter by Muscle Tech is good. What's the other one? Euphoric. Pre-workout, and get some music that gets you pumped. Listen to that. Put earbuds in. There's got to be some music that really gets you going, man. That's the music you want to listen to when you train. Whatever it is for you. Rock, EDM, rap, country, I don't know, opera, whatever it is for you. That's what you should listen to get you pumped when you train. Let's see what else. I like fat wallets, Ron. Says bipolar mom. My wife just got me a Louis Vuitton wallet. Believe me, I didn't want it. I hate spending money on. To me, that's a waste of money. But anyway, this wallet's like fat and huge, so you can have like a few bills in there and things like that thick already. Yeah, I don't like wasting money on name brands, but whatever. RSQV, how long should you wait to do your blood work to see if your SHBG is low when taking Proviron? These are good questions for the doc. So go to Ask Dr. T. That's a video on this channel. Put it on the comments for the last video that we put out like last Tuesday morning, and he'll answer that properly. I'm not a doctor. I don't know. Joseba, how early do you typically arrive to Olympia? Last year I got there Thursday. I usually get there Wednesday. Thursday. Yeah, I usually get there Wednesday, like Wednesday evening. Because I have to be there for the press conference in the morning. Usually I want to be all settled in, have all the press credentials sorted, unpacked, ready to go. Even though the real events don't start, the expo and all that, and the judging till Friday morning. I like to have a full day with the press conference and interviews and things like that to really get prepared. Do you think Regan can make the Olympia this year? Yeah, why not? He just needs to win a show. There's a lot of shows. He's good enough to win a show. He's won shows before. He's got Milos on his side. He's got phenomenal genetics. He's a hard worker. Why not? Mark, Ron, are you sometimes bored of bodybuilding? Did you lose your passion a little bit at some point? Yeah, sometimes. You know what I get sick of is the eating. I get sick of the cooking and the eating, to be honest. That's the thing where makes me want to lose interest in it. Like, it'll be time to make like another 5 pounds of chicken or something. I'll be like, damn it. Or I got to grill up a bunch of turkey burgers or sirloin burgers. It's a first world problem. I'm complaining that I have to eat too much, right? When other people are starving to death. So shame on me for even thinking that way. But yeah, I mean, sometimes I go to the gym and I'm just not like feeling it. I'm like, honestly, I look around and I'm in pain. My shoulder's killing me. I see all these guys squatting heavy like I used to, benching heavy, deadlifting, things I used to be able to do that I can't do anymore. It's disheartening. It's like, I try to really focus on what I can do at the gym at this point. At 53, going on 54 with all kinds of joint issues and pains. Because if I just think about all the things I can't do anymore, it's depressing. And I won't even want to train. But yeah, I lose a little bit of motivation sometimes for sure. And I look around, I see my gym has a lot of people that look phenomenal, like way, way better than me. There's some guys there who are just friggin', and girls, they're just like genetic specimens. You wouldn't believe it. But Yeah, so sometimes I get down to myself, for sure. RSQVIV, with Masters at this year's Olympia, do you think that will overshadow the Open? No. No. So the Masters isn't at the Olympia this year. It's a different show. The Masters is taking place in August in Romania. Olympia is taking place in Orlando, Florida in November. What's up, Branch? We're going to go on a walk soon. Relax. Come here, Branch. Come here. You want to say hi? Come here, Bubbles. Come up. Up. Over here. Get up. Up. Oh, that's a good boy. That's Branch the Bubbles. He's a pit bull Labrador mix. Looks mostly like a pit bull. Good boy. You're such a good boy. You want your walk, Bubbles? I just want your walk. Yes. I know, Bubbles. I know. I'm almost done. A few more questions, Branch. Branch is getting antsy. Next question. Yeah, so the Masters and the Open, two different shows, different countries. They're August, September, October. They're 4 months apart, so one's not going to interfere with the other. Oscar Carman, probably I will go for first cycle. What combination do everybody say? Testo, Winstow, Clen? Everybody says Testo, Winstow, Clen? Who's everybody? Like everybody that you know? I mean, first cycles, you want to keep them very, very basic. Clen is a fat burner. It's an asthma medication that people use to burn fat. I should say it wasn't designed to burn fat. But yeah, I mean, just do some research. Don't just jump into this and do what people at the gym say to do. There's so much information online. Don't be lazy. Take a few days, take some time, really study this stuff, because these are powerful chemicals and hormones you're putting in your body. These are prescription drugs. You shouldn't just waltz right in and go, oh, I'll just do some Clen, I'll do some this, I'll do some that. You want to know what these compounds are, what they do. Don't just rely on, asking somebody, even like me. I'm not an expert. There's plenty of great info online. Just Google it, read up, educate yourself. You definitely, I say to everybody, if you're going to go on drugs, educate yourself first. I've known people who did it the right way. They took a long time to really do all the research they could. Then they started. Others, they're just like, couldn't wait. It's like jumped on a bunch of crap, had all kinds of side effects, health problems. You don't want that. Just a little TRT. Did you have your kids while on cycle, or did you PCT? So I never PCT'd. I think I tried Clomid one time. That was my PCT. I was pretty lazy, especially when it came to that. So my first kid, 1994, I was still Lifetime Natural at that time. My son, Christian, he was born in September 99, and that was during that born again period. So I went back on gear, I think like July of that year. So that meant I got my wife pregnant earlier. So no, I was actually drug free for life with my first daughter when my wife and I conceived our first child, my daughter, 1990. She was born in April 94. And then my second child, my son, he was born September 99. And that was, I got her pregnant during another one of those longer periods where it was about a year and a half where I was off gear. So yeah, I mean, I never worried about it. RSQ, that's fun. That's what I'm here for, RSQ. I don't expect everybody to know all the schedules of the shows and everything. Just a little TRT says, I came off myself and expected my first kid. Congratulations. Yeah, I love my kids. Joseba, ask Doc T, he'll give you some answers. Yeah. Oscar, have you ever been to Turkey? No. Thinking about it, but you know why? Hair transplant. So hair transplants in Turkey are like 1/4 or 1/5 the price they are in the US. And it's no offense to your country, but it's not like a country that's on my bucket list. Like, boy, I got to go to Turkey. Honestly, I've never intended in my life to go to Turkey. No offense. It's just not somewhere I was interested in going. I don't need to go to every country in the world, but they do hair transplants there. And you can see my hair is thinning, and I have like a little growing bald spot in the back that my dad had, my late father. All 4 of my brothers, 3 older brothers and 1 younger brother, all have theirs are worse. They're older, my older brothers, but that's the only reason I go to Turkey. Yeah, so it's like $4,000 in Turkey to do that, the hair transplant. Coach Greg Doucette did, versus $20,000 to $30,000 if I do it here in the U.S. So yeah, fine, bro, don't worry. No, I mean, I'd like to have my hair back, especially here. I don't like having a bald spot. I really don't. I mean, I'm very vain. Otherwise, I wouldn't be, taking gear and tanning and trying to be lean and spending 2 hours a day in the gym, 2.5, 3 hours. By the time I get there, the time I leave, if I wasn't super vain. It's the water bottle. It's got all kinds of stickers. You get the Dragon's Lair sticker from there. You got Nashville. That's from clothing, some tights I got one time. It's this Groove Baby. It's my daughter. She's a DJ. Groove Baby. What else I got on there? Well, that's her little Groove Baby logo that she made one time. Anyway, yeah. I like your watch. What brand is that? This is a Tag Heuer Aquamariner. Is it Submariner? What the hell is it called? Aqua Racer. It's an Aqua Racer. Yeah, it's the only good watch I have. My wife has several good watches. I only have one. Bruno. Hello, Josefa. Have you ever been to Destination Dallas? No. I want to. Go and train there since I'll be at Texas Pro. I wanted to go there last year because I was out there for the Texas Pro. But my flight was early on Sunday. Hector, our videographer, does still photos. He does work for Gasp. He was going over there to do some stuff, but it was like from where I was, the hotel I was at, I think it was like an hour away. Dallas is huge. It's huge. But I do want to go there. I definitely want to go there. Oscar says, I've been doing research for 5 years. I waited to get enough time. It's time to cycle. Go for it then. Haluk is my friend. Is Haluk posting here too? I don't know who Haluk is. Loho, Ron, since you're wearing a Muscle Tech shirt, would you ever wear a Species Nutrition shirt on Ask Ron Live? Well, no, because Muscle Tech is paying me now. I work for Muscle Tech. I'm their senior writer. I do. If you go to muscletech.com, I got some articles up already. I'm doing some work for them. I don't work for Species. That's Dave's company. Yeah, I mean, I'm only wearing this because I work for Muscle Tech now. I'm under contract with them and have been for a couple months now. I'm very happy with the products, and they're treating me well. And they're trying to get really established back into the bodybuilding industry like they used to be. They were the top of the heap for years and years. They sponsored everybody: Cutler, Phil Heath, Branch Warren, Dexter Jackson, on and on and on. They used to sponsor everybody, and they were sponsored all the contests. The magazines were like half Muscle Tech ads. And they got Blessing now, and they signed Chef Rush, Chef Andre Rush, Maureen Blanquisco, the Bikini Olympia champion. They're going to be signing more top athletes as time goes by. Joseba. Yes, I'll see you at Texas Pro for sure. It's 40 minutes from my Airbnb. Yeah, see, Texas is one of those places. It's humongous. It's enormous. It's like the Dallas-Fort Worth metro area is like the size of the state of Rhode Island. It's probably bigger. Rhode Island's not that big, but you see what I'm saying? It's enormous. It takes... you say, well, that's in Dallas, and I'm in Dallas. You probably think, oh, how far can it be? It might be an hour away. That's how big Dallas is. It's huge. Yeah. But no, Loho, I would wear a Species Nutrition shirt if I worked for Species and was being paid by Species, which I'm not. So, do you remember Florian Poisson? Ozgor, do you know Tunahan Güler from Turkey now? No, I'm not going to look at him now. Florian Poisson, I do remember him. Let's look at it together. He's my friend. I'm sure he looks great, but I can't do it while I'm doing this. I'm sure he looks great. There's a lot of people out there that look fantastic. I mean, not like millions of people, but there's a lot of great physiques in this world. Check his Insta. Oh, this is Haluk. You're telling me to check your Insta? No. Oh, no, this is another guy. Haluk is your friend. That's Osgor's friend. And then Tunahan Güler is the bodybuilder, right? Okay. Yeah, I'm sure he's probably... I remember... who's the greatest guy from Turkey we knew? They had a pro bodybuilder. I know they did at one time. Was Hamdullah Kutlu, the guy who was known for the shredded glutes. Hamdullah. He was from Turkey. He was really good. Which bodybuilder's arms would you like to have? Any one of them at this point. Phil Heath, Kevin Levrone, Mike Matarazzo. Jeez, there's a lot of guys that have great arms. My arms suck, so anybody that had good arms, I'd rather have their arms than my arms. I always say, trying to be like a great bodybuilder with average arms is like trying to be a porn star with an average penis. Good luck. Good luck. Arms are like a critical part of like every pose. You can't hide weak arms. There's not one pose you can hide bad arms in. Frontal bicep, arms rear double, front lat spread, even abdominals and thighs, most muscular, side chest, side tricep. Your arms are in they're visible all the time. So Hamdullah Kutlu, yeah, he was always in great condition. One of the most, they talk about Andreas Munzer, but Hamdullah his conditioning was very close to that, if not the same, for years and years, Hamdullah. Anyway, how was the contest yesterday? Some people had really good potential. There's a couple guys that I thought if they'd been leaner, maybe a few more weeks of dieting, they would have been spectacular. A guy named Nick in heavyweights, a super heavy that he won the super, Stephen Colley, that Jose got ready. I thought he could have been a little bit sharper. I'm very, very I have very, very high standards for condition. Very high standards. I expect everyone to be shredded on contest day, without exception. You knew what day the show was. You know you're supposed to be shredded. Why aren't you shredded? I know there's a lot of reasons. A lot of things can get in the way, but that's how I feel about it. Conditioning is like one thing that's always under your control. You know, you might have a weak body part. Not much you can do about that in like 16 weeks. Your shape, your structure, these are things you really can't change, but your conditioning is 100% under your control. And a lot of people just don't suffer. They don't want to suffer. They don't want to go low on calories. They cheat on their diets. They skip cardio. You know, I stopped coaching people, but some clients used to really frustrate me because I knew they weren't following the plan. Anyway, I'm going to go walk my dog. I appreciate you guys watching. Please check out tomorrow morning, 9:15 Eastern, MD Power Hour with Giles Thomas and myself. We're going to talk about our first gear cycles and our early years of gear use in detail with some funny stories mixed in there. Definitely check that out. Please, appreciate you guys watching. And again, like, subscribe, share, comment, do all that stuff. We'll see you right here next time. Thanks, guys. Bye-bye.